This is Jim Collins from Excelsior Capital Partners. This is the latest edition of the Rising Series podcast. With me today is Ilan Sobel from BioHarvest Sciences. And we will begin, but for my AV people, let me do a quick countdown here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And with that, I will say thank you very much to Ilan for joining the podcast today.
It's a pleasure to be with you on your show, Jim. Looking forward to the next hour.
Yes, it will be great. So usually the way I like to begin is with sort of a brief history of the company, and obviously in your case, of the key products as well from BioHarvest. So I will turn it over to you.
So the company, Jim, at its core, we are a biotech company.
Okay.
And our core capabilities are in R&D and manufacturing. We have been doing what we do the best in the world, called botanical synthesis, and I'll break this down for your audience shortly. We've been doing this since 2007 when the company was founded. And we've spent nearly $100 million in investing in our botanical synthesis process technology. And this botanical synthesis process technology now, as we've started to scale it at major industrial levels, is starting to drive a movement of change across the pharmaceutical industry, cosmetics industry, nutraceutical industry, as well as the food nutrition industry. These are all deep, multi-billion-dollar verticals.
Sure.
So let me take a couple of minutes, and help the audience understand the magnitude of this technology and how this technology works. So,
great. Thank you.
You ready to rock and roll on this?
Let's do it.
Okay, great. So, look, we built deep capabilities, IP, as it relates to patents as well as know-how, to be able to do a couple of things really well, which are changing the world. One, we have this unique capability as part of our botanical synthesis technology to take any plant in the plant kingdom once. We only need the plant once, one time.
Okay.
And what we're able to do with our PhD plant cell biologists, most of them have been working with us since the company started, so there's deep knowledge here, is we're able to take that plant, and as you know, every plant in the plant kingdom has unique phytomedicinal compounds that are so important for our overall health and wellness. And we have the ability to identify exactly where in the plant are the cells that produce these phytomedicinal compounds.
Okay.
And we, after identifying these cells, we take these cells and we start growing these cells in petri dishes.
Okay.
In basically, we commence a process of doing hundreds, sometimes thousands of experiments, where we are changing the food we feed the cells, and we're changing a number of other conditions, the light, the temperature, the air.
Sure.
And what we're able to do is we're able to get these cells to do two things at this stage. We're able to get these cells to, one, mirror the production of the exact same phytomedicinal compounds as the original plant, without changing in any way, Jim, the molecular structure. So it's non-GMO, really important.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
And two, what we're able to do is we're able to focus on one or two, sometimes more, specific phytomedicinal compounds and magnify their levels by an order of magnitude versus what's originally found in the plant. So in our red grape cell molecule, on Vinia, hold this properly so you can see in the camera.
Thank you.
we increase the levels of piceid resveratrol, which is the gold standard of resveratrol, the Rolls Royce of resveratrol. We'll get onto that a little bit later, by
Okay.
more than 100 times. Okay, more than 100 times. And that's why we're the only company in the world that can produce piceid resveratrol at a commercial and industrial scale. So we get the cells to basically perform at a petri dish level and to produce this unique composition of phytomedicinal compounds.
Yes.
And then we lock the cells, almost like we create a cell bank, cell library, and we never have to go back to the plant.
Wow.
Never go back to the plant.
Okay.
And then what we do is, plant cells are like human cells. It's unbelievable. They have memory.
Okay.
And we have figured out a way to train our cells to be able to grow in liquid media. So we take them from solid into liquid media, i.e., the cells are growing in liquid, in huge industrial scale bioreactors. We're talking thousands of liters and up. And in 18 days, we train the cells to be able to produce these critical phytomedicinal compounds. And after normally 18 to 20 days, we harvest the cells. So we drain the water and we dry the cells through normally freeze drying or spray drying processes. And we're left with a highly potent, bioavailable, and soluble end molecule.
Okay.
And we're able to produce these molecules consistently. We're able to produce them with economic viability because of the unique scaling that we have in our process. We're able to do it with unique sustainability, literally a fraction, micro fraction of the land, a fraction of the water and the energy usage.
Yep.
And what this technology is doing is we're solving a major problems for the pharmaceutical industry, cosmetics industry, nutraceutical and food nutrition industry, because these industries are looking for new molecules.
Yes.
Pharmaceutical industries, Jim, they're looking for new molecules to help address major unmet needs with serious medical indications. 95% of rare diseases, there's no cures.
Right.
Pharmaceuticals are looking for new molecules. And if you take the pharmaceutical companies, interesting case study, they started with the plant. If you look at some of the major initial drugs on the market, they all came from Mother Nature, from the plant. But then pharma realized it's too tough because we have no consistency. It's too difficult because we can't patent nature. They couldn't get patents. At the end of the day, pharmaceutical companies are commercial entities, and without patents, they're nothing. So the pharmaceutical industry went and started to chemically synthesize these molecules from the plant in a laboratory to get the patents, to get the consistency.
Of course, yeah.
Now, Jim, with our botanical synthesis technology, these companies, these pharmaceutical companies, can now go back to accessing 500,000 plants in a plant kingdom who have unique molecules that for sure can address so many of the unmet medical needs that we have today as it relates to indications or as it relates to unique therapeutic solutions that are able to address the whole world of preventative medicine. And they can do it with consistency. They can do it with patents because of our unique compositions. These compositions are patentable, and they can do it with unique economic viability. So what's happened is our botanical synthesis technology today feeds two significant business units, revenue-generating business units.
Yes.
One of these is a products business unit where we went and started 2 years ago. We took our red grape cell molecule with the piceid resveratrol together with quercetin, anthocyanins, and tannins. And we started to build a direct-to-consumer e-commerce business that literally today is generating significant revenue. We are shortly going to be announcing our 2023 full year results.
Yeah, yeah.
But we've shared, obviously, as a public company, we have shared guidance, and we will deliver on that guidance of roughly $12.5 million that we delivered in revenue on one SKU, right?
That's all from Vinia, that 12
All
and a half.
from Vinia, all from Vinia capsules, and that's north of 50,000 customers in Israel and the US, and that's an 80%. It's actually slightly higher than 80% recurring revenue business because it's so heavily subscription based.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that business, and we'll talk, I'm sure, in the next, few minutes about how we're going to grow that business with multiple new SKUs, as well as our olive cells and pomegranate cells that are in our pipeline. But again, going back to who we are at the core of our company, whilst we've built this unique e-commerce machine that's highly profitable, we have one of the best cost of acquisitions in the industry, very low churn rates because we have a molecule that delivers and it's been validated in multiple clinical trials.
Yeah.
That's allowed us to build this amazing e-commerce machine. The heart and soul of the company is in our R&D and manufacturing and our ability to unlock the secrets of cellular plant biology by bringing and availing to the world through our botanical synthesis technology all of these new molecules that are available to pharma companies, cosmetic companies who are craving for naturally derived molecules because consumers are saying no more chemicals on my skin, all the way through to food nutrition, where every major food ingredients company is looking for the next non-nutritive natural sweetener, right? Given the opportunities in that world. And we're really at the cutting edge of all of this, anchored in our technology. And that's why we made a very bold, brave decision, value-based decision, in fact, about 12 months ago, which we announced at Bio in now 3 weeks ago. So basically end of February, we announced that we were going to open up a services CDMO business.
Yes.
Where we were going to allow companies, pharmaceutical through to nutraceutical, cosmetics, food and food nutrition companies, to partner with us in going from the development of literally these unique molecules derived from the plant, and for us to work through a development cycle all the way through to finally, upon successful development of these unique molecules, that they have the actual composition rights for.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Important from an IP perspective. And we will then enter into long-term royalty partnership deals for manufacturing. And we announced 2 major deals 3 weeks ago.
But couldn't announce the customers, I believe, for confidentiality reasons, contracts. Yeah.
Correct. And importantly, obviously, signing significant NDAs. These were 2 amazing customers. One allowed us to leverage the power of our botanical synthesis technology in the pharmaceutical space with an enzyme that we're developing for this customer from a specific plant. And the other area was more in this area of food nutrition and non-nutritive sweetness. Okay. But it's been amazing to see the pipeline of customers that have come through as industry starts to understand the sheer magnitude of our technology and the ability of our technology to change the world and really bring unique molecules, plant-derived molecules to the world, which have significant efficacy. And to be able to do that with consistency, to do that with economic viability, and then patentability. So that's probably a good description. It's a long answer to your question. It helps people understand the technology and how we're utilizing the technology.
Yeah, I think that I would sort of reverse things from what I had planned to ask you, but and the product is interesting to me. I actually use a lot of nutraceuticals, so things from grapes and pomegranates and olives are very interesting to me. But I think for the podcast, we should focus a little more on the process. And what you're talking about with a CDMO business within BioHarvest Sciences, to me, has enormous potential. Um, so maybe you can just explain it to, or someone who's a layman like me, how that differs from, say, for instance, contract manufacturing, and where the IP lies, and how you get paid on a royalty model from, which I'm assuming is a much larger company. I mean, they must be.
So when you think about CDMOs, D is for development. So we're a contract development and manufacturing organization.
Okay,
And,
that's
and
important.
basically the partnership model that we have is that we can go from plant to the industrial scaling of final, highly efficacious plant-based molecules, either what we call a simple molecule or a complex molecule. So we can do everything
Okay,
from, basically simple molecules all the way through to proteins and enzymes. As long as it exists within the plant world, we can do it. And we're able to do that literally in 24 months, from plant
wow.
all the way through to industrial scaling of specific molecules where the customer partner has all the rights from an overall composition patent to that unique molecule. And remember, in my introduction, I talked about how we mirror nature.
Yes, yeah.
We also have the ability, in a way, and I say this respectfully, to improve nature, because the molecules that we're developing have much higher levels of the specific phytomedicinal compounds that will exist in nature, because
Okay,
we increase the levels significantly. Like I explained in the case of our pyrethroid resveratrol, we did the same thing with verbascoside glycoside, which is in our olive cells that we'll be bringing to market next year, where today we produce the highest levels of verbascoside in the world. There's one other company that produces maybe at 30% of the levels as us, but we're going to increase that lead more and more as we get smarter and smarter in what we do. And verbascoside is a very unique polyphenol, which has amazing anti-inflammatory benefits from the actual from olives, and it's all anchored in the Mediterranean diet and the benefits of that. So 15 to 24 months, we go from plant all the way through to the final molecule to be able to be produced at industrial scale. There are three major steps we go through in the development process. Step one, and each step has a financial cost associated with it.
of course.
So we pitch the pricing, and if you think about it, our pricing, it's all based on companies investing in non-recurring engineering expenses.
Sure.
And we're able to literally between $1.5 and $2.5 to $3 million in development costs, which, if you think about it, for a pharmaceutical company, it's like a
Rounding error. Yeah.
weekend for the sales force at some beautiful 5-star resort.
Right.
We can develop the next generation of therapeutic molecules that's going to save the world from a major indication. So that's on the development side. And I say that a little bit sarcastically, but we've specifically pitched our pricing model to be able to bring the ability to move and go from plant to final molecule. For literally this year, we will do a class of 10 plants we'll put through our system. Next year, we plan to go to 25, and then literally doubling it each time, because each time, the more plants we put through our system, we have a unique layer of AI that we're building on top of that, which allows us to get smarter and faster at going through this process from plant to final molecule, as it relates to all the critical variables that are so important in driving that mirroring and magnifying effect of the original phytomedicinal compound. So phase one, we basically do all the work in the Petri dish. That phase is, without going into detail, it's highly affordable for any company. It's a 3-month process that we do.
Okay, only 3 months.
Kind of experimentation where we're doing hundreds, sometimes thousands of experiments to optimize the conditions to get those cells to be able to produce the maximum of the targeted phytomedicinal compound, and to make sure that we're capturing all the phytomedicinal compounds in the plant. That's the mirroring that I talk about.
Right.
And that's important because often, given the power of nature, it's the full spectrum effect. It's synergistic effect. Often it's not just one molecule, it's a multiple number of molecules that work together, almost like a symphony in an orchestra. That all the different instruments have to work together to give you that right kind of outcome. And we see that time and time and over again in the plant kingdom, that it's not just one molecule, it's multiple molecules working together. And we're able to do that. And then the key, there's always a hero molecule, if you want to call it. We're able to increase, or a hero phytomedicinal compound. We're obviously targeting at increasing that. So that's the cell bank, is phase one. At this stage, we sit down with our customer and we go, okay, Jim, this is the plant that you gave us. Here's what the plant has. Here's, as a result of our technology, here's how we were able to elevate the phytomedicinal compounds. And this is what we've done for you.
Okay, by magnitudes, I would imagine.
Mirroring and magnifying, exactly. And then the customer will go, wow, I love it. So then we lock it. We create a cell bank. We freeze cells. We never have to go back to the plant. And then we go through the stage, basically step two, where we actually grow those cells in liquid media in small and medium bioreactors. And at this stage, after 3 to 6 months, we can go back to our customer partner. And there's a reason why I'm using the term customer partner. I'll come back to that in a second. If I don't, please remind me. Okay. We go back to our customer partner and we say, Jim, here you have kilos of biomass. So if you're a pharma company, you can start to do phase one, in vitro, in vivo, phase one trial, etc., all the way through to nutraceutical companies might go straight into clinicals. They'll go through a GRAS certification and into clinicals. Cosmetic companies will go into clinicals. And then obviously when we're doing stuff in the food area, it's much faster. And they'll go straight to sensory application development. Customer partner comes back and says, wow, we have something that's special. We've got amazing results. We want to take this now to the scaling step, which is phase 3. And this is when we teach the cells. We literally train the cells. Yeah, it's like
learning.
Literally think about it. The best way I kind of explain it to a lot of our investor partners. Remember the use of that term, investor partner, Jim. Customer partner and investor partner. We're building this company in a very, very unique way with partners in our ecosystem.
Okay, that's
something that me as a CEO is just maniacally focused on. But what happens at this stage is that we take the cells, and the best way to describe it is, if you see a child in a kindergarten that's a fast runner, you can't take that child and literally put them into a marathon and expect them to be able to run in a marathon.
Right.
You see talent, you then have to train them. You have to have different coaches along the way. You feed them different food along the way. Sure. And over a period of time, they get ready to do their first marathon, maybe half marathon, then marathon, 16 years, 18 years, and off you go. It's the same thing with plant cells. We have to train those plant cells. We have to toughen them up. We have to feed them different media, different conditions at different stages to be able to train them. Remember, I said plant cells have memories.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's critical that there's a really very rigorous, consistent training program to get them to survive. So when I put them into these industrial scale bioreactors with shear forces and liquids, that they're strong enough to survive.
Yes. Yeah.
They're able to take basically the benefits of all the conditions that I'm exposing them to, and they use all these conditions to be able to use all the energy to produce these critical phytomedicinal compounds in this 18 to 20-day period. So step 3 is the training to do that. We complete that training process. We demonstrate to the customer now where we have completed industrial scaling.
Right.
This stage, we are then moving to a royalty-based partnership model where we will produce under a royalty these critical new molecules for the
Okay.
customer for whatever purpose. And that's that's basically call it the 4-step process.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's it's really the key that and for any emerging growth company, the key is to actually have scalability. So if Pfizer, I have no idea why they would, but if Pfizer called you tomorrow and asked for a volume order, do you have the capacity in Israel to your current facility in Israel to do that? Or is it something where you would have to invest in more bioreactors, just a larger
Yeah,
number?
so it's a great question. So currently for our products business, which is our Vinia red grape cell product, can hold it properly here, the background screen. We invested $5 million
Okay.
in 2021 to build a 20-ton facility. This facility, 20-ton annual output, so 5 million, this is important for the listeners, 5 million one-time CapEx, delivering 20 tons of output a year. Today, in our direct-to-consumer business, we sell each kilo about $2,700 a kilo. So
Okay.
at full capacity, that one-time 5 million in CapEx can bring home $55 million of revenue on an annual basis. It's like
Wow.
software.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. That's the uniqueness of our technology and how we grow these cells. Okay. And seeing is believing. We don't show our factory for obvious reasons. It's a huge amount of IP and
Sure.
know-how. If there
Yeah.
are any investor partners, and it happens to me normally at least a couple of times a month, that find their way to Israel, we're very happy to come in. We take them into our biological plant. It's a full
Wow.
GM biological plant, obviously no cameras, and they see how we do it. Okay.
Oh, very cool.
And so basically, this facility right now is operating at about 75%. By the end of the year, it'll be operating at about 90%. We are working very aggressively to finalize a commercial deal on a new facility, which gives us the capacity to at least double, if not more.
Wow.
And then as it relates to all of our now switch to the CDMO services business unit, where there's a 15 to 24-month development timeline. So
Sure.
really, customer partners that we have right now in phase 1, remember we announced 2 deals.
Yes.
What it means is I've got really, let's call it 15 to 24 months to get a facility up and running in North America. And that's a major focus for the company. Our intention is to have a facility, roughly 160-ton facility, because this is what we believe the demand will be in 2 years' time, based on the pipeline of customers we're starting to see coming into our sales pipeline, and ultimately our deal flow and contract flow, based on class of 10 plants in 2024,
Right,
and then
right.
moving into 25, 50, and obviously there's a cycle time for them to go through and go through steps 1 to 3, and then ready to go into step 4, which is when we start to bring them into our manufacturing facility that we're looking to build in North America. We've already identified about 6 states in North America, which we believe fit the requirements that we're looking for as it relates to capabilities, access to labor, as well as bringing non-dilutive income into the company as it relates to grants, etc., given the uniqueness of our technology. And it's super exciting to see how, I'd say, overwhelmingly receptive state governments, not just the federal government with Joe Biden and what's been done from a biotech perspective, but all the way through to also looking at state governments who really want to embrace companies like us. But yeah, so going back to your question, if there was a major pharmaceutical leader, and we are engaging in discussions with some companies that really, it's amazing to see in the pharmaceutical world that's so chemically synthesis driven and biologics driven, in the last 70 years, their willingness to go back to their roots, excuse the pun, and to
Yeah.
go back to the
Plants.
plant
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
It's been amazing because at the end of the day, in the pharmaceuticals world, and specifically as well in the cosmetics world, there is molecule fatigue.
Interesting.
R&D are struggling to find new differentiated molecules. And the time to molecule is extensive. And then you've got to find molecules that are safe. So as you know, in the case of chemical synthesis, you have major toxicity challenges.
Sure.
Right? Basically, on-target and off-target toxicity challenges. With biologics, and thank God for biologics, they've really saved the industry the last 15 years, and a lot of the cutting-edge therapeutic solutions today are coming from biologics, but you have immunogenicity challenges there, right? Which is a really big challenge from a safety issue. What we produce are what we call biologics plus.
Okay.
Why do we brand it biologics plus? Because ultimately we can do simple molecules, we can use long tail complex molecules, we can do composites of molecules. Our molecules are coming from plants. Human beings have been living together with plants for thousands and hundreds of thousands of years, depending on which orientation you're coming from. So we don't have the safety issues. We don't have the immunogenicity issues.
Okay.
And we have a much faster speed to molecule development, and we have much lower manufacturing costs of the molecule. So we are solving so many problems for these industries, and it's for us, it's been a very humbling experience to start to see major industry players, without obviously being too detailed,
Right.
to the table, being super engaged and interested in understanding the magnitude of change that our technology can bring, not just to the world, but specifically to their world, and having a much more open-minded perspective on really re-engaging with really the initial source of molecules, which is the plants.
The plants, yeah.
Right? Because we've solved their problems. Their problems were consistency. Their problems were economic viability.
Yes.
And the problems were patentability. Our technology takes all of those issues off the table, and we give them a molecule that mirrors the plant, but also in many respects is better because we're able to magnify the levels of key targeted phytomedicinal compounds in that plant.
Sure.
So they're getting a major, I would argue, a major inimitable competitive advantage when partnering with us, because they're not going to find, if you look at today, the whole world of weight management and the biologics going after that world.
Right.
You have how many pharma companies competing in that space, and each one has a slightly different. You're not going to have that issue with us because basically, right? We develop a unique molecule for you, and because of all the patents that we have on our process technology, you're not going to find a company down the road doing botanical synthesis that another competitor of yours is going to be able to go and develop a similar molecule.
Okay. I think that's
really unique about our technology, because we're, and ultimately so far ahead in this area as it relates to our capabilities at tissue culture, plant tissue culture, which is the mirror and magnify work, and then the ability to grow these cells at economic and industrial scale. There are a lot of companies that they've started to do tissue culture work, and we encourage those companies because at the end of the day, also, Jim, there's 500,000 plants out there to explore. And if you think about it, right? Think about it. If you think about the Earth, we have overexplored what is below the Earth: gold, diamond, oil, gas. But when you think about that layer above, 500,000 plants, unfortunately, many of those plants that have medicinal value are becoming extinct. Right? It's totally underexplored. And that's why I think I have the best job in the world, because I'm leading a company that has technology that's able to unlock all of that value and help people live much better lives by using these molecules to improve their overall health and wellness.
Okay. And if I can pin you down on one financial point, which will lead into the financials, which is my background, and then we can finish on the product itself or the products. I think you mentioned that you currently have your facility in Israel, you have a 20-ton annual capacity.
Yeah.
And we're talking, just to make sure my notes, a 160-ton facility that you're looking for here in the States.
Yeah.
Okay. So that, I mean, this is not something that my background is analyzing manufacturing companies. You really don't see an 8x expansion.
So what I would say to
ever.
you is, if you look at
Capacity.
past performance predicts future performance. In our products business unit, for the last 2 years, we've at least doubled the business.
Okay.
One SKU, I remind you. This year, we will bring to the market 10 SKUs. Okay? Not all at the same time. We'll be rolling through the market. We have our capsule business, right? With really the anchor of our business today. We just launched into the market Vinea Blood Flow Energy Coffee in Keurig pods. You can check it out on our website on vinea.com.
Okay.
Or you can check it out on Amazon. We just started to sell on Amazon. And we've seen literally phenomenal response. This product has been taste tested, blind taste tested. We have tested ourselves versus industry leaders. So it's a great tasting product. Remember, part of my background story is 18 years building brands at the Coca-Cola company and running businesses. So, nothing leaves this place, whether it's clinical trials on the efficacy or in the case of products, where there's sensory involvement, taste testing. So we have amazing product taste sensory experience. We have a regular and a decaf. The decaf, think about it. When you think about decaf coffee is a 15% of the coffee mix.
Okay.
There's been zero innovation in the last 20 years.
Yeah, it's insane.
Cottage cheese industry, right?
Yeah.
And what we're doing is we're disrupting these industries with game-changing innovation, with superior science, superior efficacy,
okay,
and superior taste. So in the case of our decaf, we in every single Keurig compatible pod, we have the equivalent of one capsule of Vinea in Keurig pod, and we utilize Swiss water decaffeinated coffee. And there's a reason why we use Swiss water decaffeinated coffee, because the majority of the industry extracts the caffeine using chemicals.
Sure.
And we don't play in that world. We play in the plant, right?
Okay. Yeah,
so for us, when we built this product, it was critical that the decaffeination process utilized a non-chemical process, and Swiss water have a unique technology that they utilize water to actually extract the caffeine. So we have an amazing tasting product, zero chemicals, utilizing the caffeination extraction process. And that's all about giving people the opportunity to enjoy a great tasting cup of coffee, but generate their physical energy and mental alertness, not from caffeine, but from blood flow. And that's really, I guess, a good point to start to talk about the benefits of our Vinea or our red grape
nitric oxide as well.
Right. So we've done multiple clinical trials.
Yeah.
Multiple clinical trials. And in our clinical trials, we demonstrated the ability to significantly increase the dilation of arteries.
Okay.
Mediated dilation is the metric used, the endpoint. So we're able to significantly increase the dilation of arteries after taking one capsule of Vinea every day for 90 days. And just for your audience, in each capsule of Vinea, you have the same amount of piceid resveratrol as one bottle of red wine or 1,000 red grapes. Remember, I told you about magnification.
Right. So
1,000 red grapes.
So
no
one
sugar,
capsule,
no calories, of course, no alcohol.
Okay. So it's not as much fun, but yeah,
Much better for you.
Yeah.
And basically, through increasing dilation of arteries, we're able to significantly increase blood flow. And when there's more blood flow, and blood flow is such a critical part of our body's operating mechanism. We're able to increase the levels of oxygen and nutrients flowing through the body tissues, organs, and cells, and reduce the toxins from the body. And as a result of that, we improve physical energy, we improve mental alertness, no brain fog, right? You've got more blood flow going to the peripheral part of your brain, because also Vineyard gets below what they call the blood-brain barrier, BBB,
Okay.
right? That's because we have such unique solubility and bioavailability in the product. And therefore, you have much more blood flow. You're not waking up in the morning with brain fog. You have, real ability to improve your mental alertness. And so for people drinking our coffee was just an amazing delivery mechanism. As I've learned from living in the US, America runs on coffee.
Oh, yeah.
And then the whole idea of putting one of our molecules into a coffee as a delivery mechanism or delivery system was perfect combination. So now people are able, in the case of decaf, there's no jitters, there's no crash. You get your energy and your mental alertness through blood flow, right? With great tasting coffee. And in the case of our regular version, you obviously, where there is caffeine, you get your caffeine kick, but there's no drop because of our red grape cell powder, which stays bioactive in your body for 12 hours.
Sure.
Based on our bioavailability testing, you're able to get through the day, right? So
without peaks and valleys, yeah.
Right, and so we launched this actually in December on TV.
Okay.
We had a great launch on the Mike Huckabee show, and now we're really scaling this business, and it's been super exciting just to see how the American consumer is just embracing functional health and wellness innovation in a category that's just not used to it.
Sure.
And that's very, very disruptive. We're going to be launching shortly pods, which are Nespresso compatible. So we're opening up the rest of the marketplace. We're going to also launch a tea line, green tea, black tea, and fruit tea, and also a tea bag line. So this really, what we're developing is a hot beverage strategy in order to utilize for the delivery of our unique molecules.
Yes.
Our red grape cell, our olive cell, and in the future, pomegranates. And we also have in our pipeline protein bars that we've developed, as well as a very unique hydration solution, which is about to go into clinical trials, which is an absolute game changer from an overall efficacy perspective. And we're building this to be, we talked a little bit earlier about certain sports drinks.
Yes.
And
you and I. Yep.
When you look at the hydration category and the sports drink category, there is a lack of, let's call it, science and technology leadership. And this is what we're looking to really disrupt with our science and with our technology combining together. So in a product that's going into clinical trials in Scandinavia in the second quarter, we're going to be testing a sachet that will have obviously the equivalent of one capsule of Vineyard inside, together with a very unique electrolyte system. And you'll like this. We have our sodium is salt from Irish seawater.
Okay.
We're also utilizing potassium. We're utilizing organic coconut water powder, which is the best form of potassium. And then for magnesium, we've developed a very unique formulation whereby we're using, and this is for the chemistry buffs out there, you'll find this more interesting, but we're utilizing micronized magnesium. Now, when micronized magnesium reacts with water, it creates hydrogen. Now, there's a massive craze now in the US as people are starting to understand the benefits of hydrogen.
Yes. Yeah.
An antioxidant. It reduces oxidative stress in your muscles, which will improve performance from an athlete perspective and improve recovery. So now you have with our Vineyard red grape cell molecule, you have the amazing blood flow. You got your oxygen levels are increased significantly.
Okay.
Right? You've got more nutrients. The ability to flow nutrients to your body is significantly enhanced. You're taking out toxins, and then you're putting in high levels of hydrogen. And that combination, we believe, is going to really drive a transformational change in athlete performance and recovery. And we're going into a very deep clinical where we're going to be measuring critical endpoints, which are going to be relevant to athletes. And we're pitching this product to elite athletes, and then we'll work our way down. and really looking to disrupt the industry. And this is a big focus for us as we look at the end of this year, starting to launch it with a big focus in the summer of next year. So this is the products business unit. And going back to your question on capacity, we're running tight on capacity. We will have a new facility up and running this time next year here in our product right now in Israel.
Sure.
And then obviously the focus is in 24 months time, having the facility up and running in the US for our products business unit, but also all the CDMO services, customer partners that we would have worked through the three-step process and moved to industrial manufacturing under a royalty arrangement. And hence the focus now to finalize the state government in the US that's going to be partnering with us on this facility and starting to identify the talent, the critical biologists out there that have the experience and the motivation to be part of our company and be part of this journey to really drive a movement of change in the world with our technology.
Yeah, I think that it's obviously I'm based in New York State, and some states are better than others, as you know. I know you work here also. I would just say on the financials, I know that the release of your full year 23 numbers earnings is imminent.
Imminent,
So
yes.
I can't.
It may even be out before this goes to air.
Okay. I won't ask for spoilers on that because I'm really not supposed to. But in terms of just the capital base with all the growth opportunities that you've talked about and the 8x expansion in capacity with a new facility, you recently did a $13.5 million Canadian dollar convert. But I'm just, it's always a very simple question, how do you pay for all this growth?
So firstly,
in and of itself a great thing. But how do you fund it?
It's a great question. Firstly, you pay for it through ensuring that as you scale your business, you're improving your gross profit margins.
Okay.
So this is like number one, right? And that's one thing that 18 years as a senior executive at the Coca-Cola company taught me was how to focus, execute, and then from a P&L perspective, understand where the leverage is in the P&L. And you've got to have a great gross profit, otherwise you can forget about it. So,
and I think, sorry to interrupt, but I think you've talked about going from about 45%, which again, the numbers aren't out, but about 45% now gross margin to 70%.
So third quarter, correct. Third quarter, which are the latest financials, we shared that in the third quarter, we were operating at a 45% gross profit margin.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And I'm cautiously optimistic that will continue to increase as we look at the fourth quarter and beyond. Okay. And we have a very clear roadmap to get this business to an EBITDA gross profit margin of north of 65% by the end of this year. Right.
By the end of 24. Okay.
2024.
Sorry,
For that quarter, we want to get to that level. Let's call it like the mid-60s level. That's where we want to be.
The running rate. Yeah.
And then obviously over time, you never stop. You've always got to be tuning and improving the gross profit margins. And, obviously the higher you go, the more leverage, right? So this is a major focus in order to start to bring cash into the business. And importantly, we've shared to our investor partners guidance that it's our intention to do what it takes to get the company profitable at an EBITDA level in the second half of this year.
Okay, right? Second 24.
Yeah, sorry. And that's like a huge commitment that I have to make to the board. I've made to the board. Yeah. And whereas a management team, we're super focused on metrics, financial metrics. Everybody, CTO, CMO, Chief Medical Officer, sure. Everybody that sits on the management team is heavily linked, connected to financial metrics. So that's a big focus for us. And
compensation, then, options, RSUs, those sorts of things.
Exactly. Everything's anchored in financial performance, right?
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, that's the bread and butter of the business. So going back to your question, with improved financial performance, right? We are, and also the fact that we've also being very focused at moving the company to a larger exchange to improve liquidity levels,
Trading liquidity.
to start to bring in, and really drive the initial, what we feel is a high level of excitement with institutional investors that really want to see us before they take a chunk, right, or a bite. They want to see us on a larger exchange with greater levels of liquidity, all the way through to getting more analyst coverage. We're starting to edge our way to that area of getting analysts' interest, and
My
I think
old
that's
job, yeah.
we're gonna start to see it. Hopefully, we've piqued your interest through this hour, and and basically, those factors obviously are going to give us access to capital that we may need. But obviously, we want to minimize the amount of capital that's required for this kind of scaling. But we will require capital, right? And that's it's good quality capital, because it's ultimately being driven with a company that has a strong financial base, a strong financial grounding, where it has a very strong track record of delivery and executing. And we're getting into that profitability zone, which is super important. And for biotech companies, with the levels of investment that we've put behind the business, to be actually getting to that EBITDA profitability zone with $100 million of investment over, let's call it, since 2007, so let's say 16 years.
Okay, 16
this
years.
is an amazing achievement. You normally biotech companies, you're sitting at 500 million, $1 billion of investment, and they're still not profitable. We have real revenue. It's going down to the bottom line, and I think that's what makes us like a very, very unique company to partner with as an investor, as a customer, because of the optionality that you have in our business. Because we have a product business that really we're utilizing our technology and monetizing our botanical synthesis technology, and that business is allowing the entire entity to ultimately move to this break-even EBITDA level, profitability EBITDA level, and then you start to really see the virtuous cycle and synergistic cycle between these two business units to grow a very high margin business. The CDMO business,
leverage your fixed costs,
is expected to be even higher margin business. That business can operate at 70 to 80% margin business. And you're bringing in revenue through the non-recurring engineering expenses, the development costs. We've already started to bring in that revenue. You'll start to see that coming in the 2024 numbers, because we've already signed 2 contracts. So there's revenue coming in already from that. So
that's important.
It's super exciting. We're obviously, in summary, we're very focused on delivering continued financial performance. Yes, our aspirations for growth are aggressive, but we've delivered consistently very aggressive numbers. Very few companies our size give the kind of guidance that we give. And we've delivered on that guidance and beaten that guidance most of the time. And if past performance predicts future performance, we will continue to do that. And facilities of 160-ton facility is something, if you think about a new molecule that we bring to market for a pharma company or a cosmetic company, just in VINIA today, our red grape cell product, we're reaching 10, 12 tons. Very soon we'll be on a 17, 18-ton run rate.
Annual run rate for VINIA.
On tonnage, of course. When we start to look at where the business can go, specifically as you look at 2025, these numbers are very, very realistic numbers that we feel comfortable we can deliver on. So actually, 160 tons is not a lot of capacity when you think about the fact that I'm bringing on olive cells, I'm bringing on pomegranate cells. And I've got some
add to the grape,
monster companies as customer partners coming into our pipeline, that we're going to do what it takes to develop unique molecules that are going to change their businesses, their verticals, and most importantly, just generate unique shareholder, literally utility value for consumers. And as far as positively changing their lives. And if we do that, like we've done it with 50,000 active customers of Vinia today, and we scale that to hundreds of thousands, to millions,
Okay.
to tens of millions, then this company, from a shareholder value perspective, is going to generate significant shareholder value based on the utility value that we're delivering for our consumers.
Okay. And in terms of those consumers, what percentage now are buying the product on a subscription model versus
more than 80%.
on
Yes,
Amazon or something? Okay,
this is
more
an
than
amazing.
80. Sorry, I
Yeah,
was
more
talking.
than and that includes Amazon, right? So, which is crazy. On my website, 95% of the customers that come through Vinia.com are subscription.
Wow.
It's a recurring revenue business. And even on Amazon, we have a very high subscription rate. Why? Because the product delivers. We have 4.8 out of 5 verified review rating from over 4,300 reviews.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I encourage your listeners, potential investors, go to Vinia.com, go and read the reviews, and you'll see the language that people utilize to describe their relationship between themselves and our brand, Vinia, which is anchored in the red grape cell molecule,
Yes.
is very different language to what people utilize when you look at any other company out there, at least in the nutraceutical space, as it relates to the experience of utilizing the product and what it does to fundamentally, positively change their lives.
Okay. And so the best, we're coming up on the end of the hour here, but is the best interface for potential consumer to go to Vinia.com or Amazon, or what do you
for if people are looking to purchase our red grape cell molecule utilizing obviously our Vinia product, I would say to them, and they're looking for an amazing experience driven by increasing blood flow in your body, and that relates to all the benefits of physical energy, mental alertness, and reducing oxidative stress, reducing oxidation of LDL cholesterol, maintaining your blood pressure within normal ranges. Go to Vinia.com, go to the science page, learn about the science of Vinia, learn about the mechanism of action on how our red grape cell, piceid resveratrol, increases the nitric oxide levels, reduces the endothelial one, and that's how we drive this significant dilation of arteries. Learn about the product, read the reviews, and what's best, and we do this also for our coffee, Jim, there's a 90-day money-back guarantee.
Okay, I think that's important.
And in the coffee world, nobody gives a 90-day money-back guarantee. In the nutraceutical world, some companies do that. And, we're very fortunate that we have an amazing performing product that we can go out with such a strong, validation of giving customers our no answers, no BS. It's a 90-day money-back guarantee. You want your money back, no problems, right? And really, we're very, very fortunate that it's a very, very, very small percentage of our revenue is basically given back in basically refunds, very small.
That's great.
The product delivers. We have clinical trial to back that up. And again, go and read the science and learn. And that just helps you understand the power of our botanical synthesis technology and how, back 3 years ago, when we had the molecule, myself and the management team, we decided, the best way to prove to the pharma companies and the cosmetic companies on how good our technology, our botanical synthesis technology is let's just go out and launch this product ourselves. And that's then seeing is believing. This is the best validation of the power of technology, the fact that we can scale it. In fact, I was in Europe 4 weeks ago, met with a major pharmaceutical company.
Okay.
And they turned around to me and they said to me, we don't partner with any technology company unless they have their own significant size brands.
Interesting. Yeah.
Which I thought made perfect sense because they probably had so many companies pitching technology to them. It wasn't scalable, right? Or overselling. But for us, we have, our red grape cell Vinia, 50,000 customers, serious revenue. And we have this as our point of validation to be able to say, look, we can scale.
Yeah.
It's real. Exactly.
Well, this has been a great conversation. I want to thank you, Ilan Sobel, CEO of BioHarvest Sciences. So yeah, I look forward to having another one in the future. I look forward to getting some Vinia in me. I am a distance runner, albeit not elite, but yeah, anything that could help with the oxidation and the hydration, I need it. So
We will sort that out for you. You can give us your address after the show, and we'll send you your first 90 days complimentary.
thank you very much, Ilan. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Goodbye.